What's going on? It's your boy DJ Clinton of the Pass Rush Podcast, and welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've done the face-to-face videos. Been a while since I've made any video, honestly. But it's for good reason. I really just wanted to watch the games to come. Like that's really it. Last week I had some family here. My mom came to visit, so I didn't get to watch the Florida State game the way I wanted to. So I didn't make a video because I didn't want to go off just highlights, because highlights tells a different story than what actually happened. But if you do see me looking down, it's because I want to make sure I cover everything. I have my notes here. I just want to start off with a brief overview of Colorado's football team from what we saw yesterday. A lot of goods, a lot of bads, of course. A lot of people wanted to see them win. A lot of people wanted to see them lose. They're playing against North Dakota State, a powerhouse, a team where their last couple quarterbacks have gotten a chance to go into the NFL. Trey Lance, of course, didn't pan out the way people have hoped, but he got a chance. Carson Wentz, he was a little burnt out, I guess, when he got to the league. A lot of injuries and things of that nature. But two guys that really made the name for themselves at the FCS level for college football. And their quarterback that they currently have right now is going to follow that list of good guys that have come from that program, because Cam Miller really lit it up last night. Now, when we first get into things with quarterback play, like we've been here before, I usually go through every position on what I liked from Colorado and the other team, and really just give a brief overview of the game that way. And then at the end, we do the closing thoughts and things of that nature. And then I love to read you guys' opinions down in the comments below. So first, quarterback play. Shedeur, lights out. It's really hard to knock him for more than what I am going to knock him about after I get through the goods. But Goods was able to take some of those hits. Like, if you've seen some of those hits and then you remember back to the last bit of the season when he wasn't playing because of some of those hits, you're like, oh, man, like, I don't know if he should be taking those. And then it came up in the press conference as well. Like, Shedeur, should you really want to take those hits? But he said it felt good to be live. He hadn't had taken a hit since, last year. Big 53 for North Dakota State. Did a really good job getting him really back acquainted to being a quarterback. Now, with that being the case, he threw for 446 yards, 3 touchdowns. I really don't count that pick. It's there on paper, but that's a freak accident of a pick to where it hits somebody's calf, pops up in the air, and then somebody intercepts it. You usually don't see things like that. For the quarterback play for North Dakota State, again, lights out. I believe that guy definitely solidified himself in front of those 31 scouts representing the 19 teams there yesterday. I believe he will definitely be on some people's draft boards, and they will definitely be eyeing him if they wasn't already as a senior. For Shedeur to get to his negative is really just checking to pass at the end of the game. He talked about it in the press, like, he usually don't make mistakes more than once, and then that's true. But in this case, in front of all those scouts, it can be a hit or a miss there. Just for me looking at it, that they know that the game is on the line, but you want to get your guy involved. With Webster, you really want to get it, to Webster and get him a pass down the field. I feel like it's more so. I could be wrong. I could be wrong here, right? But the line was 9.5. Colorado was up 5. And a lot of bets went on Colorado, right? And then you try to hit them down the field, 1-on-1, 0 coverage. Yes, tempting, very tempting. But if they score here, push it above 9.5, above 10, those people get paid. I ain't saying that's what happened, but I don't feel like that's something that somebody of his stature in quarterback play would risk, because that not doing that ends the game before North Dakota State really even gets a chance. And that's after, mind you, that's after being bailed out from that pass interference down the field. Because if 35 didn't pass interference on Webster down the field on that 3rd and 8, they would have got the ball back with like 1 minute and 40 seconds left before they decided to punt it. And what we saw at the end of the drive would have made the game completely different. I'm just saying, at that point, you take your win, and once you got bailed out from that pass interference, and you just run the ball. Coach Prime also mentioned that there's a running back number 29 on the side that he said is a bruiser when he comes to running the ball, and he would have really closed the game out. We didn't get to see him at all during that time. I just feel like something. I just feel like that was just a bailout on their end. Like they got really lucky with it panning out the way that they would. But as Shador as the quarterback, I feel like you just run the play that's called and just run the ball, get as much time as you can off the clock because you know they're dangerous on the other end. Just something that I know people will be in his ear about that's close to him. Scouts will be in his ear about when he go to the combine and he gets into the combine. That's going to be a play that every time a team brings him in, they're going to grill him about over his years of his college career. Just like, hey, why? Like, why? When we get to running back play, you got Arthur Hall at running back. I am not completely sold on Arthur Hall, but I'm not against him, if that makes sense. Like, you got all the guys that's come in and the guys that's left, like Dylan Edwards, and then you got the guy from Ohio State coming in. You got a lot of talent at running back. But from my perspective, you guys know that I make the videos transparently when it comes to, like, putting out Colorado's offseason or their full story. Like, everything I do, I try to do really transparent. From my opinion, I feel like running back is the position that they coach the hardest at Colorado. And I feel like it's based off your willingness to protect Shador. And what I mean by that is Arthur Hall is a guy that was a walk-on, and he would do anything, and he's going to do it as hard as possible. He's just one of those guys. He's going to try to do anything as hard as possible, right? The guy from Ohio State, he will do that, but he's also used to getting the ball. Like, hey, I want the ball. Like, I was at Ohio State. I'm used to getting the ball. Y'all was struggling at Colorado with the run. Y'all brought me here because y'all want me to run the ball. I'm not here to just protect Shador. With that being said, I feel like Arthur Hall gets so much love because he's willing to do everything, but he might not be more talented than some of the running backs that they brought in, but he's more willing to do the things that running backs usually don't want to do, and that's pass block. But right now, as a runner, I don't look at him and say, oh man, they got Arthur Hall back there like he's a threat. Now, I'm going to give him like 5 games to really, really hone in my opinion on him, because when you look at the spring game, Hodges was like the threat. Like, Arthur Hall was okay, but like Hodges, the guy who came from corner, he was really like that threat. Like, oh man, he can really break up some long runs and stuff. Wide receiver, Travis Hunter is the Lord's gift to college football. That guy, as I watch him, and it's just like I feel like that's how people used to watch other two-way players like Champ Bailey and Dion back in college. Like, I feel like that's the aura that he gives off when he's out there on the field. Like, man, like, I can't believe this guy's in college football, because like there's guys that we've seen in college football where you're like, they could go pro right now. Like how everybody looked at Trevor Lawrence when he was like his freshman and sophomore year, like, oh, he should be pro right now. That's Travis. I mean, they got on there and said he burns 4,500 calories a game. I mean, that's up there with Navy SEALs BUDS training. Like, if anybody knows anything about that, that's when you go into like that BUDS military training where you're going through Hell Week and you're sleeping only 4 hours and you working hard. Played every snap, no complaint, never looked tired, always encouraging his team. When he got to the media, he's sitting there with the media and he's just being transparent. He said he don't like to party, he don't smoke, he don't drink, he just wants to fish, be with his lady, play video games, be with his team, work out. Like, that's the only stuff that he wants to do. Trevor's able to balance everything about him well, and you can see that on the field, so I appreciate that. 3 touchdowns. I mean, the guy deserves it from losing a little bit of his season last year, and even when he lost that, like, you saw his relationship with Henry Blackburn afterwards, where it was just like, the guy can't, the guy doesn't have anything to knock him. So, I mean, Travis Hunter, A++. Jimmy Horn's right there behind him. I feel like Jimmy did so well being in the position that you wanted him to be in at any time he needed to be in it. Because a lot of those throws, again, from Shador's spectacular throws, Jimmy was right there. Like, he was right there every time you needed it. Those two guys lit it up. When you talk about the wide receivers for North Dakota State, I feel like Trey Lance's little brother, really good. I feel like one did well at wide receiver. I feel like, though, from watching him, for North Dakota State, he would have been a good corner as well. So wide receiver wise for North Dakota State, I feel like their best wide receiver was kind of the tight end yesterday. He looked really good, strong, physical, to the point of attack. We need to see more of that from Colorado's tight ends, but look good. I don't really have much bad to say about either team. Now, when it comes to offensive line for Colorado, that's the biggest expectation, right? We brought in all these guys from all these different schools, hyped it up. Jordan Seaton coming from high school, hyped up. I mean, I don't know if I'm sold, right? Like, I don't know if I'm all the way sold on the offensive line, right? I feel like I want to give them 5 games too, because I see differences, but I see a lot of similarities from offensive line from last year, where last year when we played TCU, the offensive line looked just as good as they looked last night. Only 1 sack. Can't be mad about that. Only 1 sack. I can tell that's been a focal point. And then Shador brought up the incentive. If you was able to catch the press conference, the incentive, I can tell that made a difference. But then when you move past that, right, and you move past the offensive line incentive and their focal point from last year, really honing it in last year, I think you have to look at the fact that the school that they were playing against is a smaller school, and not the worst defensive line they're going to see all year, but also not the best defensive line you're going to see all year. So with that being the case, I feel like it's you're going to have to put more incentives out there for the offensive line, more of everything that you've already been doing. You're going to have to amp it up when you get to the FBS level of games now, because the offensive line, it looks like sometimes they were able to give up some pressure. But as far as like Jordan Seaton, like watching him individually, I think he did well as a freshman. I mean, that guy is going to be special as he continued to develop. The rest of the offensive line, I feel like they didn't play bad. Again, 1 sack, not much bad you can say about that. But just judging what they got to come, I'm a little concerned. Same with the D-line. As a D-line specialist, I am very particular about the D-line. But the one thing that I want to knock them for, just to start, is the want to sack the quarterback. I feel like there's a couple different things you can do to yourself as a defensive lineman that can stop you from getting to the quarterback. One, you want to do it too bad to where like that's all you're thinking about every play is I need a sack, and you start to get all over the place. I feel like we seen a little bit of that yesterday with Hayes, number 50, a new guy from Pitt. I feel like he wanted to sack the quarterback so bad that he lined up in the neutral zone, and that's the part where, and I know Warren Sapp is getting on to this about, is like when you look over, like everybody should feel like they're a leader on the defensive line, where you got a leader at a D tackle and you got a leader on the end, where they look over and say, hey bro, back up a little bit. Like maybe they did and he just didn't want to back up, but like you want to really get on to your guys to show like, hey, there's a lot of accountability, because all of us want to get in, all of us want to sack the quarterback, all of us want to do this. So you need to relax a little bit, play your game, and be in your role to get to the quarterback, because I feel like the 1-2 was so bad, not only for that one instance, but a lot of the times when they would get to the quarterback and they missing, and then the quarterback's rolling out and he's making them miss and all that. Like, even though I feel like Cam Miller's an NFL caliber quarterback, he's at the FCS level, you're at the FBS level, you should be able to sack him 3 to 4 times. It was there. Like, anybody who watched the game, you know it was there. It was very, very possible to get more sacks than we did, with, I believe, like 2 sacks. Really, one came really at the end, more so like a coverage sack. I feel like we could have had more, definitely. And it was there because, like, the difference between FCS and FBS is usually the offensive line. Skill usually matches up when you don't have Travis Hunter on the field, but skill usually matches up a little bit, where it's like, okay, we can compete with these guys, but the offensive and defensive line is where the big difference happens. And I feel like we didn't see a big enough difference. Because last year's defensive line had talent. I feel like those guys had talent too for Colorado. North Dakota State's defensive line has talent. And I feel like 53 really led that charge, and you can tell he was like the leader of that defense. I feel like we have some guys on Colorado that makes a difference where you're like, oh man, they kind of like the leader of the defense. But I feel like I just want to see more right now, like more when they have the ability to sack the quarterback, more of them getting there, putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, getting a lot of hits on the quarterback, getting him really uncomfortable, and the team making them pay for it. Because a lot of those third downs, they converted. Like, we wasn't really good as a third down defense in the beginning of the game, like the whole first half. Things really changed in the second half, but the first half, I feel like they just got a lot of the jitters out. And, that happens. I don't want to be too hard on the offensive and defensive line right now. I feel like I just want to give them some time because it takes some time to, really, get comfortable in your role. So we got more to see. Linebacker, I feel like 42, as you guys know, when I talked about the spring game, I like him. I like him a lot. I think the guy is really good. Bentley, though. Bentley is somebody that, if you've been watching me from last year, I've been advocating for Bentley to be the starting linebacker since last year. Bentley is an NFL linebacker. He's an old school style NFL linebacker where he's almost like, the only comparison I can give him right now is kind of like Wagner. Bobby Wagner, who used to play for the Seattle Seahawks, he kind of has that build where he's a bigger yet agile linebacker where he can really move side to side. Bentley is the leader of the defense, and because of that, Colorado was able to stop the run more. Because of that, the defense looked more physical at times against the run, and it's because of Bentley. Of course, you got the coaches and stuff too, but I'm talking about on the field, player-wise, Bentley is the enforcer. Woods is a guy to where, you use him to maybe get the running back out the backfield, even though he got killed on that Texas route. Second play of the game happens. Texas route is the hardest route to guard as a linebacker. If you know that, you know that. So Bentley, though, he definitely impressed some scouts yesterday. If I'm a scout, he on my list. Now, I ain't saying Bentley no first round, second round linebacker yet, but I would look at him third, fourth, fifth round. You like, hey, that guy Bentley, we can do something with him at the NFL level. In our scheme, our system, our fit, that guy can be something. I like him because I feel like big linebackers are kind of getting phased out the game. Kind of lame to me because linebackers are the tone setter for defense. You can't have a bunch of safeties down there. I feel like that doesn't really do anything for you. But Bentley, like him. I like him a lot. When you get to corner, I feel like McKinney, which is somebody that the NFL has bragged about. McKinney, I feel like, is a good tackler for corner. Like, he really didn't allow many broke tackles whenever the ball would get caught near him. But coverage was a little bit up and down, and that's the case for the DBs as a whole. Just kind of look a little up and down. And I feel like, and this is my bias from being a former pass rusher, that's on them. Like, that should be on us. Like, pass rush, get to the quarterback. The defense back should only have to do it for 3 to 4 seconds. They shouldn't have to cover for 7, 8, 9 seconds because of extended plays, and then we're blaming the DBs. As a unit, get to the quarterback, make it easy on them. They shouldn't have to cover that long. Just get to the quarterback, make it completely easy on them. No complaints, no worrying, no nothing. Like, just get to the quarterback. We'll take care of it. That's how I look at it, right? That's just me as a defensive lineman. Anytime a play is going over 3 or 4 seconds, it's our fault. So a lot of the times, North Dakota State did a lot of pick routes, rug routes, X routes, and things of that nature where they were motioning a guy across the field to see if they're a man or zone. And you didn't see all the time a man would run with them. That's how you know if they're a man or zone, because the man's going to go all the way with the man. If he doesn't, then there's some type of zone. Or they could be running some type of shell coverage or whatever. You could get really nitty gritty with it. But North Dakota State really wanted to get Colorado off their game. Instead of playing black and white, they was motioning people around. Good. Colorado did the same later on down in the game. Really good to see, but the DBs just look rough. Now, when it comes to Shallow been in college football as long as, like, me and him aren't too far apart in the age. I'm 27, and Shallow's like 24, 25. I graduated college in 2019, so I've been out of college for a little while now. Shallow's still there. He's too old to be making some of the mistakes he be making. And nobody can say otherwise. He's a little too old to make some of those mistakes that he make. Special teams overall for both teams look good. Nothing crazy. Both teams play clean there, and that's new. That's new for Colorado to have a clean special teams. That's new. Another thing that Colorado has to make sure they nip in the bud early right now is penalties. Some of those penalties boneheaded. Again, the Shiloh one, the Hayes one, just boneheaded. North Dakota State, they got a little fatigued down at the end of the game. They started making some of those similar mistakes, and you just like, why? So those type of things we need to see less of from Coach Prime. And I think he did a great job. Anytime somebody made a penalty, he brought them right over, got on to them about it. Like, hey, we're not gonna be nothing like last year. We're not gonna be too forgiving like we was last year with some of these mistakes. And then they go on to make it again and again and again. I mean, we've seen it. But I feel like the team, again, not enough difference to say this is a completely different team than last year, but not enough similarities to say that this is the same team from last year either, right? Like, there's some things that we just have to continue to wait and see on. Again, the offensive line, defensive line, quarterback play, Travis, the stopping the run, because even though they gave up 157 yards, I don't want to say that the run was bad, because a lot of those came like later on when the quarterback started scrambling. I feel like that's just like a little bit different. I know it's all get thrown into rushing yards, but when it came to physically stopping physical runs, Colorado looked better than they did last year, and that's just a testament to their training and physicality. So next week, Nebraska beat Nebraska last year, but it's going to be physical. This next game is going to be physical. It's going to be grueling a little bit, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about the matchups a little bit later on this week. And until then, you guys stay safe, take care, see ya.
Up and I shake the room.